So my vision that I have for Gospel Dome, I don't have the finances, I don't have the resources, I don't have anything to even get started with Gospel Dome. But what I do have is a mind that will get me to Gospel Dome. And so Smartboard was the first in that process. Smartboard is the hoverboards that were trendy about 2 or 3 years ago, and I still see them popular now. I started that business because of the drop shipping I was able to do, and because of the high profit margins. Only thing I needed pretty much was to set up a website.
Buy Black Podcast, episode 22. How to build your empire from nothing using drop shipping as a low-risk first business model.
Welcome to Buy Black, the only podcast dedicated to helping you find, connect with, and support Black-owned businesses. We're on a mission to bring consumers and business owners together to ignite the global Black economy. I'm your host, Gerald Jones, and if you're a Black business owner or a socially conscious consumer, you've joined the right community. Ready? Let's get to work.
Hey guys, welcome back to Buy Black, and thank you for continuing to work with me through this process. Things have been really busy and taken off over the last couple of weeks as we've gotten the platform, the website up, and I'm connecting with new people every single week. We're scheduling episodes that are coming out. Going to have a lot of great interviews coming up for you guys here in the next few weeks. And we have a great interview coming for you today. So before we get into that, I wanted to cover a couple of quick housekeeping pieces of information for you. The very first thing, I'm extremely excited about this. The Android app is finally done for Buy Black Podcast. So right now, if you have an Android phone and you're listening to the show from any other podcast player, I want you to just go to the Google Play Store and look up Buy Black, Build the New Black Wall Street. Download the app. You'll see the cover art. It is the quickest and easiest way to get the show on your phone. Plus, I'm going to start doing some content that's only going to go to the app, whether that be, PDF file resources, whether it be either outtakes from the show or me just talking about completely different subjects that may not have anything to do with, with business, whatever it is. I really want people to move to the apps for the show because it just makes life simpler for you. And the other really important thing about it is that not everybody understands podcasts. Not everybody has, podcast apps on their phone. And so when you try to tell somebody about the show, it might be difficult to get somebody who has never done podcasting before to go through all of those hoops and steps to get to it. But now all you have to do is ask them, hey, do you have Android or do you have an Apple phone? Whichever one it is, you just tell them, go to the App Store, put in these keywords, you will find the Buy Black Podcast app. They download it and now they've got all the access, all the content, and it's really, really simple and easy. So with that, go and download the app on the Android store. If you haven't gotten the app already and you are an iPhone user, go ahead to the Apple store, download the app there, and it would really help me out if you guys would drop a rating, drop a review right there inside the app stores, because of course that's going to help the app rank higher, get it in front of more people, and we can grow this thing even faster. So been a long time coming, but now it's here. And that is the only way that you should have to get to the Buy Black Podcast. Now, speaking of ratings and reviews, we got a new review on the actual app itself on the Apple Store. So this one came in about a week ago from somebody whose screen name is Entrepreneur Myself. It says, I started listening about a week ago. I found the app while looking for business apps. The podcast is very clear, understandable, and informative. The speakers and facilitator drop nuggets of wisdom all throughout the recording. It has held my attention with each recording. I tend to listen to 1 or 2 at a time. Thought-provoking. Also, I appreciate the facilitator's candor with issues he may be experiencing, i.e. lack of time due to regular job commitments. Keeping it real. As an entrepreneur myself, I understand. Well, hey, I really appreciate that review. It's reviews like that and your 5-star ratings, guys, that is really going to help us boost the signal for the apps and for this project and for our movement. So I can't say thank you enough for that review, and I can't encourage everybody else enough. download the apps, review the apps. If you are using iTunes or other players, definitely go into iTunes and leave us ratings and reviews in iTunes as well, because that is the number one place where people go to get podcasts. So ratings and reviews there help a lot. But ultimately, that kind of support, it's low commitment, but it's huge impact for helping us get this message out to more people. So I really appreciate it when you guys take the time to go and do that. The next thing that I want to talk about is the website. And the number one thing I want to push on that website is the resources page. Like I said before, 201 links on the resources page on buyblackpodcast.com. And they all go to different types of resources for the Black community. And that list is only going to continue to grow. If you have people who, they may not be podcast people, you may not want to throw the podcast at them. But if they have anything that they want to do to better their lives as a Black person in the United States, I guarantee you there's a resource on that page that can help them. So check out the page yourself and direct people towards that page so we can start getting these resources out to more people. So today, the interview that I'm bringing to you, I got a chance to talk to Rashida Hawthorne. Rashida and I are in a Facebook group together, and that's where we met. So we started talking, and I found out about her business, which is called Glambulb. And we're going to spend a little bit of time today talking about Glambulb, but ultimately, what Rashida is going to talk about today is a hugely important topic, in my opinion, in the Black community, which is how we go from zero to empire and the steps to move up that chain, starting from small business to larger business to bigger business, and learning all along the way. So Rashida has incredible lessons to teach us on that subject. I'm not going to spend a whole bunch of time with the lead in. We're just going to jump right into it. If you stick around after the recording, Rashida actually has an offer on her website with Glambulb that's going to be available for the next couple of weeks after the show is out. So once we get done, I'll tell you about the offer, and then we'll close things out. For now, let's go ahead and jump into the show. Tell me about your background and how you kind of developed into this philosophy of, I want to build an entrepreneurial empire. I want to build my business empire. How'd you get there?
So that philosophy pretty much came, it came with finding my purpose, figuring out what I'm here for, what I want to do, and some of my strengths and weaknesses, being able to identify those. So I know that I have a short attention span, or I'm not excited for the same thing for a long, extended period of time. I wanted that to translate into the way I approach business. And so the idea came along when I was coming up with these big business ideas and these big companies and these big dreams. And I don't have the finances for it, but I'm very optimistic. There is a route. So I figured, okay, if I start smaller businesses on my way to the bigger dreams, then that gives me a way to reach those dreams. And so, that's pretty much how that happened. I'm sorry. I'm nervous.
No. But see, you weren't nervous before I said we were starting.
I know. So. All right, you got to start over.
Yeah, no, don't be nervous at all, because
you messed me up. You should have just kept talking with me.
Yeah, I know. No. I wanted to just redirect you back over to the conversation that I know we're gonna need to have. So let's just. This is why I wanted to restart, is because the value that you bring when we talked the last time. Yes, we got Glambulb, and we're gonna talk about Glambulb, but the value that you brought was, you told me that you started out with the business where you were doing the drop shipping, and you were talking about, connecting with manufacturers and, making sure that the right products make it to the right people, and the whole drop shipping thing. Like, that is something that I don't know about.
Okay.
And that I know a lot of people want to know about, and then you were talking about, choosing different manufacturers. And then you were talking about Glambulb and how you had to, get this product designed, and everything that you were talking about that last time that really was around Glambulb, but not about that product, was like pure gold. And I just kept pulling us back to Glambulb, and I'm like, oh, but this is only one of the products that she has, or that one of the businesses she's building. But the real thing is, Black people in the community, need to hear about the ability to just build an empire and how to build business after business after business and grow. So instead of being nervous and trying to sound professional, get into your zone of passion. Like, I know that you're passionate about this dream that you have, and just kind of get into that mode and tell me about the dream. Tell me about, from the very beginning to the very end goal, how are you going to get there? If you just tell me about that, I promise I'll pull other stuff out of it.
I'll get into the end goal. You know, when you put it in words, it's kind of one of those things where it's all in your head, but now that you're putting it in words, you want me to put it in words, that's where the hiccups come. But I totally get what you're saying. So
yeah,
me getting to that end goal.
Yeah, talk to me how you got it started, and then just walk me through where you've gotten to now.
All right, so Glambulb is my second business. My first official business, where the one that I actually launched, was Smartboard. And so Smartboard is the beginning of the empire, the end goal, which is ultimately Gospel Dome. So my vision that I have for Gospel Dome, I don't have the finances, I don't have the resources, I don't have anything to even get started with Gospel Dome. But what I do have is a mind that will get me to Gospel Dome. And so Smartboard was the first in that process. Smartboard is the hoverboards that were trendy about 2 or 3 years ago, and I still see them popular now. I started that business because of the drop shipping I was able to do, and because of the high profit margins. I only thing I needed pretty much was to set up a website. And so I set up a website. I contacted manufacturers. I found manufacturers through Alibaba. Of course, the way I assess the manufacturers, I check their reviews, but even then, those reviews can be inflated. So at some point, I had to just kind of pull the trigger and trust the manufacturer. So luckily, I found one who was pretty good, and then I found another one who actually held the patent to the Smartboard. So I had a couple manufacturers that I was working with, and then I also got really, really lucky because one manufacturer decided to move here to California and have their product here on site, and so that was all the benefits for me. Now I can actually test out the product and see what I'm sending to my customers. And the greatest benefit of that all, I was holding no inventory. I didn't have any risk.
So I wanted to jump into that. I wanted you to go into more about that drop shipping and how that works, how it is that drop shipping gives you the ability to get a product to customers without actually holding it in your own inventory and having that risk. Explain how people can do that. What's that model like?
Well, drop shipping, you pretty much, you think of a product, you figure, I want to sell emergency backpacks. That's a popular one. Emergency backpacks, when I say emergency backpacks, I mean something for earthquake or hurricane preparedness. Say, I want to sell these backpacks for $50. You find a drop shipper who has that product, who sells those products. So you're like, hey, I'm interested in your product. I want to ship them to my customer. I don't want your brand to be on it. And you work out the details from there. And what happens is you advertise these backpacks. You have pictures of these backpacks. Normally the drop shipper has pictures provided, but you can go with that depending on your budget. If you don't have a budget, you can go with the pictures that they provide. But if you have a budget, have them send you a backpack and take your own photos and edit them in Photoshop or whatever you need to do. And then you place them on your website. The money comes to you. You send the money to the manufacturer, and the manufacturer will send the product to the customer. Now, depending on what's actually on the label is what you and the manufacturer discuss.
So you're saying that, so when you talk about what's going to be on the label, it's basically, hey, the customer, you can set it up where the customer only sees, this was shipped from, quote unquote, your United States based address.
Right.
Even though it's coming from a manufacturer that may be in China or elsewhere.
Right.
So when you're dealing with a product like that, though, I may have asked you this before, but how do you account for the cost of shipping something? Because I'm sure that your customers don't want to wait 2 to 3 to 4 weeks to get it by boat, and when you have heavier products, it's going to cost a lot to ship those things by air. So how do you account for that? Do you just do you build that into your price, or is it better to have the price kind of meet the market and then add the cost of shipping to the customer on it?
Are we talking about a drop shipper overseas, or are we talking about a drop shipper in the United States?
Overseas.
Overseas. One or two ways. Normally, since I'm in LA, I'm pretty much here where the port is, so things are priced a little different for me.
Mm-hmm.
So normally, what I was doing, I kind of gauged from LA, and for the lower 48 states, I got the highest price of possible shipping, and I just tacked that onto my cost.
Okay.
So if the highest possible cost of shipping from LA or from China to New York City, if that was $150 for my smart boards, and then on my website, my smart boards would not be $200; they'll be $350 with free shipping.
Okay. So the cost is built into it.
The cost is built into it.
Okay, that works.
And there are some websites. Like Shopify that will actually calculate the cost for you once the customer put in their address, and they'll do all the calculations for you. But at this time, I was using Wix. It was my first website, so that's how I did it for that company. But there are websites that will calculate those costs for you.
Okay, that's really cool.
And so I use DHL. FedEx, UPS, and USPS they were okay for international shipping, but DHL, when they do door to door, like I literally had some products from China to my door within 24 hours.
Oh, wow.
So when it comes to international shipping, I always recommend DHL.
Okay. Yeah, that's a note. I'm going to take that down. Recommend DHL for international. Cool beans. So starting with that, all right, I'm going to go backwards real quick. You told me that you had a vision, and it sounds like what you said is Gospel Dome is your ultimate business goal. So you started with smart boards, and you used the drop shipping model for the smart boards, and you had that profitable business. So now you moved on to the current business that you're running and that you're promoting, which is Glambulb. So talk to me a little bit about Glambulb, because when we first talked and you showed me this product, I was like, this is really cool. It's not something that I even understood would be a consideration. But apparently, for women or anybody who puts on makeup, regularly, the lighting inside your house versus the lighting outside your house can have negative effects on how your makeup works. So you came up with a solution for that. You've got this new product that you're promoting. So talk to me about Glambulb.
Okay, so Glambulb and Smartboard were kind of happening simultaneously. I was in the process of working on Glambulb, but again, Glambulb costs money to start. It wasn't one of those businesses you start for under $200. And so the idea for the smart boards just kind of popped up, and I was like, okay, cool, I can start this. I will make more money, and I will have more money to put back into Glambulb, again, pushing me towards that end goal. And so I paused Glambulb for a minute, focused on smart board. Once smart board sales slowed down, my attention diverted back to Glambulb. Glambulb came about because I was sitting here, I'm like, I need a business that I could start, an affordable business that I could start, because everything that I'm coming up with costs thousands and thousands of dollars, which I don't have. And I was just thinking of different products, looking at different, what can I do? What product I can take? If it's the water bottle, how can I make a water bottle better? I was just think my mind was just racing on how it always does, and Glambulb just came about. And I was like, a light bulb can't be too much to manufacture. That sounds like something I can, do for under this amount. And I started, what can I do with this light bulb? And then that's how the wheels start moving for Glambulb.
Okay, so talk to me about the bulb itself. What is it that makes it special, and what problem is it designed to solve? Okay, so
Glambulb is a makeup light bulb. It's coated in a precious earth mineral that helps give you a full spectrum light. The sunlight is full spectrum. And so what happens is the sunlight is the best light you can do your makeup in. The sunlight is also very, very unforgiving, which is a good thing when you're doing your makeup, because it helps you see your flaws and enhance the favorite things about your face. Problem is, when we're indoors, we're in different types of lighting, and how things look indoors doesn't necessarily translate outside or in photos. And so the goal is to be in the best possible lighting, which is the sun, if not indoors, which will be a Glambulb. And so you want to see every nook and cranny on your face when you're doing when you're applying your makeup, because what'll happen is, if you're in a halogen lighting, which gives off a very blue light, you'll end up having a two-tone. Your face doesn't match your neck, or your eyeshadow isn't quite blending how you thought it would blend. So when you step outside, things don't look the same. You get in your car, you look in your rearview mirror, like, hey, this is not what I envisioned. Or you're out and about, someone take a photo of you, they post it on social media, and by the time you see it, like, oh my gosh, my makeup looks horrible. I have white circles around my eyes.
Yeah, so that's what I saw on your website. You said you had an experience like that.
I did have an experience. I had a few experiences like that. And so I had to, again, how can I make this light bulb better? I'm doing my makeup, and then boom, Glambulb. What can I do to this bulb? And all my research, everything that I came up with came strictly from Google. I'm not an engineer student. I went to school for political science. So everything came from Google.
Very cool. And so now you have this light bulb, and it is designed to give you the natural light look when you're inside. This is one you don't drop ship. This one you got your manufacturers. They designed it for you. Talk to me about that process. Kind of what was the process for getting Glambulb off the ground when it comes to dealing with manufacturers? What's different about creating your own private label product versus doing drop shipping? And kind of talk to us about that.
Well, with Glambulb, for privacy reasons, I opted not to do drop shipping, primarily because I know a lot of things are counterfeited. So, like, in the initial stages, let me just carry the product. And plus, it's the light bulb. That's inventory that I can afford to keep versus the smart boards. Even the wholesale value, stocking 10 boards will cost me, over $10,000, $15,000. So that wasn't even an option. So stocking Glambulb was more affordable for me, and it made more sense. I can get the bulb out quicker to my customers. It's the light bulb, I can ship it out. And dealing with manufacturers, pretty much the same process. Just finding them through Alibaba, building relationships. Even sometimes if I wanted to talk to a certain manufacturer and couldn't get a hold of them, some of my smart board, some of my Glambulb manufacturer, when I was in the process, because remember I told you the process was happening simultaneously.
Right.
I was trying to get in contact with a particular manufacturer, one of the best manufacturers for the smart boards, and I couldn't get a hold of them. And I was like, let me leverage my resources. So the guy that was manufacturing my bulb was like, hey, you're in China. Can you make a phone call for me? And he actually was able to negotiate a pretty good deal for me for my board. And so just leveraging the little resources that I did have around me.
Cool stuff. So then as you built out this private label, how are you marketing this one? I see that you've got glambulb.com. Do you have it on any other platforms? Do you have it on Amazon or anything like that? And kind of what's the future strategy for Glambulb? How are you going to grow this business and kind of catapult it into your ultimate goal?
Right now, I have, of course, the website, and I have it on Instagram and Facebook. Some of my marketing strategies that I envision for the company is where I need to tweak, because I see, especially with makeup, women like to feel personal and feel connected to the business. Me being standoffish, I don't want to be the face of the company. And so I probably take it in a different direction, maybe finding a blogger, someone in my family to actually be the face of the company, someone who can actually connect with the users. If not, I may have to bite the bullet and do it myself. But again, I prefer not to. Have you got
any known bloggers that are using the bulb right now, like in the videos that they make?
No, I haven't. And the reason why I haven't targeted, most of the bloggers that I was reaching out to or looking at were professional bloggers, professional makeup users. And I really wanted to target the everyday users. I really wanted someone who was not this professional artist. I wanted someone who was at home like me every day putting on makeup. And that was primarily because it's not a professional product. It's an at-home product. It's not something for the studio you travel with. This is a bulb that you use at home in your vanity mirror or in your bathroom.
So I've got an idea for you, and this may not fit with where you were thinking about going, but so I know for certain that there are quite a few YouTube makeup and hair video bloggers who do it all from home. My wife watches God knows how many hair and makeup videos for hours on end. And I'm in the room reading and I'm looking and the lighting on these people in these in these videos is really good. But they're basically set up in their home at a spot that's near an outside window that gets a lot of light. And so that's what my wife was telling me, is like they actually are going to a spot inside the house where they're going to get that natural light so that they can make these videos. And so to me, that seems like the kind of video blogger that you're looking for, is somebody who is professional enough in it that they do it every day and it is kind of at a professional level. But somebody who can get their hands on your bulb, move to a different spot in the house to do their video and still get that same exact lighting effect. I mean, to me, that's the kind of person who's going to be able to show that your product works, and then also is going to be over the moon about sharing it with their followers. And I'm sure you probably, watch and listen as well. But, my wife is one of those people who she's in the, the comments and following these bloggers and doing all this stuff. And there's thousands and thousands and thousands of people who will pick up a product just because that person says, this is it. I think it would be really cool for you to connect with one of them or 50 of them and just say, hey, here's a free sample.
And I absolutely agree. And I think that's the better route. More so a blogger, an everyday user blogger versus an actual makeup artist who's traveling around doing makeup, because I have a vision for a product for them, just not now.
Yeah, it's not this product.
It's not this product. This is for someone at home. And like you said, most of the users are in the sunlight because, again, nothing beats sunlight. Sometimes I see the women, they're in the, can't think of the name, it's a circle light that they're in. And it looks good for camera. It looks really, really good for camera. It's a really bright light, gives you a nice reflection in your eyes, but horrible light to do makeup in.
Yeah.
Very harsh, very harsh.
So I was I was actually recording an episode a few weeks ago. I recorded an episode with a guy named Jamel LaBranche. He's got a sunglass company, FIF Shades. And he was talking to me about how he got his product in front of, he's got some celebrities and he's got some professional athletes who are wearing his shades and helping promote his shades. And he was telling me the way that he connected with them is through Instagram. He would just go into Instagram and he would direct message them pictures of his product. And that was it. Like, he wouldn't send some paragraph. He wouldn't send some, hey, I want to show you this. He literally would just take images of his, really cool looking sunglasses, and he would just drop a picture or two inside this person's DM and leave it at that. And, doing that with, a couple of hundred celebrities, he got a dozen or less of them to bite off and say, man, these are hot. I want to know more about it. Right. And so now he's got some basketball players, some football players who are wearing his shades. They're telling the teammates about the shades. They're helping promote it on social media. He's got a really good relationship with a guy who plays for the Pistons, and that's kind of become his mentor. Like, it's not so difficult to get in front of a few of these people if you just kind of do it the right way. Wow. I learned a lot from him on how to kind of get people's attention. So that might be a thing that you do if you just, I don't know how you would visually represent the bulb or take some images, regular light versus the Glambulb, and just kind of drop those into key people's, DMs and see if you can get some nibbles on it. Because, I mean, you got a product that I'm sure if you put it in front of somebody. That's a brilliant strategy.
It's like kind of cold calling, but it's brilliant. You just drop it in the DMs.
And you're giving them the product instead of giving them a paragraph like other people would normally do. I know that's what I would normally do, but he was like, no, man, just, if your product will speak for itself. And not everybody's going to respond, but you get one key person to respond and one key person using your product. I mean, that's your start, because now you got that social proof. So I throw that at you. I think that might be a way to start your marketing on that.
Actually, I'm going to really consider that when we finish this podcast. I'm going to actually sit back and implement that strategy, put those words on paper and figure that out. Get some nice photos, maybe a short 5-second video showing the product or something. But that is something I'm really going to implement.
Let me shoot you I'm going to shoot you his email too. his name is Jamel LaBranche, a guy who uses this exact strategy, and he might be able to give you some even more insight into how he connects on social media. Because I mean, the guy's got it going on. He's making moves.
So Jamel LaBranche.
Jamel LaBranche, yeah. If you look at episode 19 of the show, that's his episode talking about his shades, and also he's got some really cool sunglasses as well. So,
oh yes, FIF Shade.
Yep, FIFshades.com.
Go there now.
And then, so where are we at? So we talk drop shipping, we talk private label, not really private label, but with Glambulb and the strategy on that. But ultimately, I don't think we got to this the first time we talked. Your ultimate goal is to build something called Gospel Dome. Talk to me about that.
Well, Gospel Dome, pretty much, I'll try to keep it as generic as possible because this one right here is my baby, so I really don't share this vision as much.
That's understood.
I don't like what I see in the entertainment industry as far as, and that goes from music to Hollywood. I don't like the content that's delivered. And when it comes to the Christian side, I don't like the quality that is delivered. So on the secular side, I don't like what's being presented to America. I feel like we are so deprived. We have no values. We're deprived of values. And so we'll settle for anything to entertain us. And so Gospel Dome seeks to fix that when it comes from music all the way to television.
Okay.
I'll say it like this. Gospel Dome is the opposite of Hollywood, the opposite of the music industry in a good way.
Okay. I don't want to dig too deep because I know how it is when you got an idea and that's your baby and you don't want to give it to somebody else. At the same time, it's like I found people are lazy. Like I've told people exactly what it is that I was gonna do and how easy it is to do it, and they'll just look and be like, yeah, man, I sure wish I could find something that could help me, make some more money. Hey, do this thing that I'm doing here. This is how I did it. I'll help you out. Yeah, man, it's too much work. It's like, you know what? I'm not worried at all about anybody stealing my stuff.
You know what? Me and my best friend teased about that. We were talking about sometimes you can even lay it out for people. They don't follow their own dreams. You think they're going to steal yours?
Right. Yes. But I'm trying to change that. I'm trying to change us into a community of people who follow our dreams and see opportunities and jump on them because, I mean, man, everybody else does it. I mean, everybody else, even if you look into a different community and somebody doesn't have a business idea, somebody else will be like, oh, here's one of my business ideas I'm not using. Here, let me help you get it set up. And then they just give people ways to make money.
Right.
And that's how everybody else grows. And we look at each other and it's like, once I've got mine and once I'm doing my thing, I want you to support me, but I don't want to teach you what it is that I learned to get here. And I'm like, no, that's not how we work. I got an email not too long ago from a guy who was talking about the scarcity mindset and how this podcast seems to be in contrast to that. Like, we're here to give out as much information as possible on how to get stuff done because there's plenty to get done and there's not enough people, up and doing it. But at the same time, I talk about my products that I found that are making me money, and I'll kind of give you a little bit of a hint about what the product is, but I'm definitely not going to tell you exactly what my product is because I don't need that direct competition in the market. So I know exactly how you feel.
Right, and I understand, and I'm all about sharing. I'll tell you what I know to get me here because I'm nowhere near where I want to be, but I'm all about sharing information and, hey, if you call me or you email me, I think you should do this. And there's even been times when I even helped my own friend become my competitor, and that's with the smart boards. When they came out, I was doing that first, and she was like, everyone is selling this. And I was like, hey, why not? You sell them too. Create your own website. You do it too. I don't care if you become my competitor because this is not even a long-term business for me. I'm on the East Coast. I'm on the West Coast. You're on the East Coast. Go ahead. Here's my information, my contact information to the drop shippers that I'm using. And I was completely okay with that. Hey, make you a few $1,000. Everyone is making money. So for that particular business, I had no problem with my friend being my competitor.
Yeah, because everybody's doing it, right? But when you're like, I'm gonna create something new that nobody's done before, like that's the thing where you like, all right, I gotta be a little bit
Right. Glambulb would be different. Glambulb would be totally different, but the smart board was a fad. Everyone was selling it, so I was completely okay.
Yeah. So let me then just ask this specific one question about Gospel Dome. In the end, once it is exactly what you want it to be and in the marketplace, what change to the world is going to happen as a result of what you build with Gospel Dome?
I feel people are influenced through the things they hear, the things that they see, and I will hope to make positive influence, not just in our community, but for people outside of it. It's just help people think differently, help people with their values, their character, even your purpose, finding your purpose, walking into it, because we're in such a decay as a society, morally. We have people with very poor character, and I want to exemplify something different. Everything you see on TV is glorifying fornication, adultery, drug use. And when people see these things all the time, when they hear these things all the time, they begin to act on these things. And yes, we're responsible for what we allow into our minds and our hearts and our ears. But if there are few options, and if those few options that are available are of poor quality, people are going to naturally just begin to lean towards the things that aren't promoting good values. So I want to change that.
Okay. I like it.
Like the 50 Shades of Grey. 50 Shades of Grey, everyone was eating it up, but what it promoted, I didn't stand for. And so, but we're so deprived as a culture, we will accept anything. But the reason why something more positive isn't catching on and people are going crazy about it, because number one, when it is presented, it's not presented in quality. It doesn't have the financial backing, and it's not promoted on a consistent basis.
Right.
Like with Christian TV, you could turn on pretty much on any Christian channel, watch any Christian movie, and I could pretty much guarantee that it's C at best. Mm-hmm. And that's in terms of the writing, the actors, the production, overall. Same, Christian music is much better. But for the movie industry is where I'm displeased the most.
Okay. Because the budget and the quality is way down on that. And what I was about to say, that like we went through a kind of a small period where you had, this rush of Tyler Perry productions that went from play to the movie screen. But even those, like once they went to the big screen, there had to be so much changed about them to make them palatable to the larger community. It became a lot less overtly Christian and a lot more secular, like you're saying.
And I understand people will always want what's bad for them, but I want to do my part and at least have that option available.
Yeah.
We're in a position where the option is really not even available. Even I sometimes when I watch Christian movies, and I'm a Christian and I cringe like, this is boring.
Well, I'm curious now to see what this looks like once you build it out, because I think whatever that vision is that you have, it sounds like it's gonna put us in a position to produce more attractive and higher quality content.
Oh, and when I say takeover, I literally mean takeover. So this is my vision is doing everything outside of what currently exists.
Very nice.
Every aspect of what currently exists is operating outside of that. So I don't want to be relying upon Hollywood or the music industry, the secular music industry in any aspect. I don't want to be relying upon them for anything. So when I build this, it's a really huge vision, and so this has to be done outside of them, because I feel like if I try to work with them or within them, there will be restraints. Yeah,
you're going to get co-opted. Yeah, absolutely.
So I want to move freely, because when this wheels really get going, I don't need any restrictions at all.
I feel you. So you're using the businesses that you're building along the way to continually build up your capital and your business sense, if you will, and the ability to actually create this platform that ultimately you're going to use to change an industry.
Right. So with each business, I say, okay, with the profits of this business, I'm going to build another business. I'm also going to, take care of my personal needs. And then I'm going to put business money to the side for Gospel Dome. So each business puts money to the aside for the bigger vision.
Okay, so that's key. I don't think we've hit that yet. So with everything that you build, a small piece of it is going towards the larger vision. So it's almost like you've got these buckets of, all right, I need to pay my vision first. Gospel Dome gets his piece. I need to pay the next business next. They get their piece. I need to make sure that the bills are paid right now. They get their piece. And then you got your personal savings or things like that. So every single thing you build, as it gets bigger, the pots that you can put into those buckets just continue to get bigger until you've got what you need to build your dream.
Right. And this may sound crazy, but that's why I'm not too crazy about winning the lottery, because I feel like I will be more valuable to people if I can show them how it's done.
Yes, absolutely.
If I can show them, this is how I did it from the bottom. But if I, get this windfall of money and just fund the business, then that will be people's fallback excuse. Well, you won the lottery. And so I really, really, I truly want to show people who are literally working with nothing, this how you can get it done.
I love it. Because
in the process of building this, I do want to inspire other business owners, other visionaries. I want to inspire them, throughout this process.
So with that in mind, actually, my very next question for you, you just segued perfectly into it. So what are the most important things that you've learned so far as an entrepreneur?
I've learned patience. I learned the importance of launching. That's without, you have the two different types of launch. You have the people who just throw things together and get it out there. I don't like anything just thrown together. But at the same time, I don't want you to spend so much time trying to make it perfect when it's never going to be perfect. Or you're hiding behind the fear of launching, so you're waiting for it to be, quote, perfect. And so that's one of the most important things I learned, to just launch and don't procrastinate. That is something I struggle with myself. I continually struggle with it, and something that really needs to die in 2017. And so launching and stop procrastinating.
Okay. Launching, stop procrastinating. You said patience, though. What were some of the things that tried your patience most in building your businesses? And how did you build that patience that you needed?
Working backwards. With the manufacturers was one of my biggest, one of the ways I learned patience, especially dealing with, the cultural barriers, the language barriers. You're dealing with, when I was dealing with the Asian companies, I was dealing with people where English was their second language. And so a lot of things get lost in translation. English has a lot of terms that mean one thing, but necessarily stands for another. And so that was some of the part of the up the hill battle I had to deal with. Cultural differences, like with the smart board, had a customer order a particular color, the manufacturer sent another color, and him convincing me that it's okay, it's still a smart board. Your customer would be okay. When I reached out to a mentor over here in Los Angeles who happens to be Chinese, he explained to me how that works in the Asian culture. They're looking at the function of the product and not the small details such as the color. You want a smart board, you want something fun to ride, I deliver the smart board. Color is not a big deal. Whereas in America, we want what we order, down to the color. And so that was very frustrating for me, considering I'm dealing with such an expensive shipping cost. Once it touches the United States, for me to ship it back to China, the price goes up dramatically. And just learning how to deal with them. And there's sometimes when it was some manufacturers that I deal with, they had great prices, but the communication was so difficult, I had to move on because it's just me. I don't have a translator. You're offering a great product, at least I think, but the communication is not there. I have to move on.
Right. So what is next for you? Right now, you've got Glambulb, which you're promoting. It's a great product. We just talked about a new marketing strategy, so I look forward to seeing that come to fruition. But what else? What else is next on your plate, and what can the audience do to help you achieve that goal?
I think what's next on my plate, I think a franchise is in order. I think that would be wise for me to do as far as really learning how to run a successful business. I think the best way to do it is getting up under a company that has a high success rate and learn from them. I went to business school, but I read books, I wrote papers, and there's only so much I can learn through that method. So I think a franchise is something that I need to do in order to get closer to that dream.
What industry are you thinking about franchising in?
Right now, I'm thinking about fast food. Thinking about one of the fast food restaurants. I actually started the process for one so far. I don't want to speak on it, but I'm in the process of that one. Hopefully, if everything is everything, then that's the one that I will really be pleased with. It's very time-consuming, this franchise that I have my eyes on, very time-consuming, but I think I will learn great values from this company. This company values align with my values, so it's kind of like a perfect match.
Okay. Yeah, I think I know which company you're talking about. So, but that's really good and interesting. And for anybody listening out in the audience, so I want you to follow along with this, right? The vision from the very beginning is, an empire that changes an entire industry, right? And having that vision, Rashida has this vision that's at the very top. And one thing that a lot of people that we do is we have this huge dream, and unless somebody comes along and draws the path to get from where we're at to that dream, we just don't take action on it. We just think that would be great. If I won the lottery someday, this is what I would do. If my rich uncle died and left me $100 million, this is what I would do. But we don't actually go through the process of, okay, where am I now? Where do I want to be? And what are the steps to help me get there? And so I don't know if you're listening and hearing what I'm hearing, but what I hear is, here's a product that I can sell, that I know is popular, that I'm only going to be selling for a short time. I can get my hands on it with low risk doing drop shipping, and that's going to get me started down my path. While I'm doing that, here's a product that I can do, and I can create myself, that I can take control over that product. I can put it in front of people, market it, and I can build this business. And it's actually solving a real problem out in the marketplace as opposed to being a fad. And, you know what? I figured out this whole product thing, but I want to actually learn more about the business of running a business and actually running a larger business where I'd have employees. Let me find a company where I can franchise. They've already got the model. I just need to step into the model and learn how to run that model so that eventually when I've got my own business with my own employees while I'm trying to change the world, I've got the experience building this model. I mean, Rashida's process is exactly what it looks like when people go from starting at wherever they are and building a $1 million, $100 million, $1 billion industry, an empire. You take it one step at a time and you learn what you need to learn along the way, continuously launching, right? Continuously saying, this is what I want to do and I'm going to launch now.
You laid out my vision perfectly. You laid it out better than me. Applaud. And I think my list of businesses is very fluid, is very flexible. I have a list of businesses that I could start with different price ranges. I have them tiered. And where I'm not at with Glambulb, when I went to that list and I viewed it, I sat back, I said, okay, what's the next best step? So it's not like a hard map. It's just that goal. And I look at when I revisit this map, I look at where I'm at and what are the necessary steps that I need to take. And that's how I arrived to the franchise. If you asked me maybe 6-7 months ago, it probably would have been another business. But once I have all my business ideas, all my visions, I have them written down, and I revisit it periodically. And so I felt that a franchise was in order.
That sounds good. I completely agree. I think you're right along that path, going where you want to go.
Right. And what I want the listeners to know, when you have $0, when you have $0, the number one thing you could polish up on is skills. Because if you know how to build a website, if you know Photoshop just a little bit, you can get something going. If you have a computer, you have internet, just the small things. If you have $0, just polish up on the basic skills, because it takes nothing to throw up an online store. You can even, when I say $0, you can even start a website right now. You might have the company name and your domain name because it's completely free. But after you come across $30, you could just drop that right off, and now it's yourwebsite.com versus yourwebsite.wix.com. And so I really want people to see how it can be done from nothing all the way to something. And my ultimate goal, I'm not trying to hoard money. I really want to do this to give it all back. That's
awesome. So I want to build on that real quick. You talked about starting from nothing and making something out of it. This podcast literally was an idea. That was it. And I researched and saw nobody else had that idea. I emailed people and they emailed me back and said, I want to be a part of this. And I said, I must be scratching an itch. Got the domain name and got, a hosting with Libsyn and, listened to podcasts, figured out what an interview format should be like. Like this is something that did not exist. And the only thing that made it exist was, me getting my hands on a microphone and then setting up some accounts on platforms that already existed and then just start talking to people. And then everything has grown out of it to this point. And it didn't cost that much money to get here. It's just a matter of, like you said, you just piecemeal it piece by piece. The biggest expense I had really was an expense we already talked about of, the website. And I could have built that myself from the very beginning for a lot less. So it's not as hard as we make it to build a business from scratch. We've just got to, stop being intimidated by it. Because as soon as you get started, you start seeing the things that need to get done. It becomes easier to see what needs to get done once you're in motion. So we just got to get in motion. Launch, like you said, just got to launch.
And for the people who are not entrepreneurs, because I don't want everyone to feel, everyone is not entrepreneurs, and that's okay. But what you can do, you can partner. You have skills, you have attributes that you can partner with someone else. Hey, he has a podcast. I'm pretty good with this. I can add this to his business, and you can make your vision come to life through that. But because I learned that the hard way. I want all of my friends to be entrepreneurs, but what I did learn, they're not, but they do contribute.
Mm-hmm.
And that's okay.
I love it. All right. So tell us, Rashida, what is your contact information? Tell us how people can find you, where they can find Glambulb. And then if they have any questions about the stuff we talked about today, as far as, drop shipping or creating your products or walking through the steps of creating a vision, where can people contact you?
For Glambulb, you can find me at sayhello@glambulb.com. That's sayhello, SAYHELLO, at Glambulb, GLAMBULB.com. And or also my personal email, because I genuinely want to help people. That's hawthorne.rashida@gmail.com. Hawthorne, HAWTHORNE.Rashida, RASHIDA@gmail.com.
Very, very cool. Thank you very much for that. And we are going to close it out today with your number one tip for the Buy Black podcast community. That can be for entrepreneurs or it could be for consumers, whichever way you want to go with it.
Launch and don't procrastinate. Whatever you're doing, get to it.
Simple.
That's it.
Simple and easy. Well, thanks, Rashida. Thanks for coming back and reconnecting with me so that we could have this conversation. I really love the way it went today. And hopefully we'll have some folks reach out to you so they can learn a little bit more about creating their vision and making it come to life. That was a really enlightening conversation that we just had with Rashida. And as promised, if you go to glambulb.com between January 8th and January 17th, you can get free shipping on any order that you make on the site that's over $30. So that's the special offer that Rashida has put together for the launch of this episode of Buy Black Podcast. So head over there and get your Gland Bulb today. For me, I told you guys on the last episode, I have actually started recording video, or I'm going to be recording video on all of my solo episodes. So I actually went over to Glambulb and I bought a few for my office. So once I get those in, I'm going to take a couple of short video clips of me with regular yellow lights and then a couple of short video clips of me with the new Glambulb. So you guys can see the lighting difference between regular incandescent bulbs and the Glambulb and what effect it has. So the last things I want to say as we're closing out, again, Android app, go download it, tell everybody about it, and definitely rate and review Same thing in the Apple Store. Head over, give us a rating and review, download, tell everybody about it, and tell everybody about buyblackpodcast.com. 2018 is the year, y'all. 2018 is the year that we are going to blow this project up and we are going to start making a huge impact. But it all starts with you. I thank you for sticking with me as we've been getting this thing on the rails over the last 6 months. Now it's time for it to take off. And I'm counting on you to help me make it happen. So thank you for joining me and Rashida today. I'll catch you in the next episode.